Hello everybody. It's another day for me to try vlogging, another day of practice. Alright, so today I'm going to just use exclusively the Sony ZV-1, and I'm probably just going to talk in front of the camera a few times a day, and then I'm going to stitch it up at the end of the day, and then I'll post it up online. See you! And there again. So today now, this is just at 8:16 AM. I'm just going to start my day, clear out my emails and start my work. So this is the settings in a kind of like a low light indoor office situation, and I think it's turning up quite bright in using this Sony ZV-1. This is how the new setup looks like with the wind muff. Right, this time I'm trying out outdoor again, quite close to the water feature as you've heard before just now. This time I'm using the wind muff that comes with the ZV-1. Hopefully the background is a bit dampened by this wind muff. Alright, it is now 12:30 in the noon. It's actually quite bright out here, my patio. It's like, I'm feeling it's about 34-35 degrees Celsius. It's pretty warm at the moment. You can see my background is pretty overexposed, I suppose. That's because I'm using the 180 degree rule, where because I'm shooting at 25 frames per second, I've set my shutter to be 1/50 seconds, and my aperture is automatically being set to f5.6 at the moment. The sun is behind the clouds at the moment, so that's why my aperture is at 5.6. It's going up at the moment and it's actually blinking, meaning I cannot go higher than f11, and my background is actually very overexposed. I suppose what I can do now is perhaps turn on the ND filter. Be right back. I'm back here again, and this time I've turned on the ND filter. I think it is a 3-stop ND filter. My shutter speed is still 1/50 seconds, and I can see that my aperture is at 3.2. Hopefully my background is not too overexposed. I'll check it later in post in my computer. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later again. Alright, so it's not just all about me. Take a look at some of the flowers I have. Got my marigold. Right, it's 6 o'clock, so I'm going to take a break, spend some time just outside the house and play ball with my daughter just for half an hour before I go back and before I resume my work for another hour. And then it's dinner time. It's 7 PM in the evening. It's still bright out here, but it's going to get dark in half an hour's time. So this is the same setting. 1/50 seconds shutter speed. Aperture is at 1.8. ISO at 320. I think it looks pretty decent, but I feel that my background is kind of like overblown still. Let's see. I think I know why my background is overblown. It's because the exposure settings of the ZV-1 emphasizes on skin. So let me try and change that setting and see how it changes the overall look. Okay, I found that setting. It's called Face Priority in Multi-Mode Exposure. I just turned it off, and this is the look of the background. And I'm going to turn it on again just for comparison. Alright, this is turned on again. Let's see whether there is any difference. Looking at from the LCD screen, I do believe that my face looks a little bit brighter, but my background looks overexposed. I don't know. I need to see in the computer, the desktop, to see which look I prefer. Right, it's night again. So this is really putting the ZV-1 on the low light test. You can hear aeroplane above me. I live near a military airbase, that's why every now and then you will see jets and planes flying by my place. I hope the sound not really overcome my voice, the sound of my voice. It's really putting the microphone to the real test. I am at 1/50 frames, 1/50 seconds for the shutter speed, and I can see that the aperture is at 1.8 and is blinking because the ISO is maxed out at 3200, and camera can't seem to expose me correctly. I will need to crank up the ISO higher than 3200, but I set the limit to 3200 just to preserve quality of the film, quality of the video. So let me try to crank up the ISO and see how it looks like. Alright, I set the maximum ISO at 6400 and the aperture is still blinking at 1.8. I don't think that is high enough. I can drop the shutter speed, but that would look kind of jittery. Okay, finally, wow, ISO at 12,800 and the aperture is still blinking. Oh gosh, it's not enough. I'm gonna have to drop the shutter speed. Let's see. Finally, this is probably something that will work. Shutter is at 1/25 seconds. Aperture 1.8 and ISO 8000. What does it look like? Too much motion blur. So if I point the camera here where there are some lights in the back, I moved the shutter to 1/50 seconds, aperture 1.8, ISO is at 10,000 now. If I move a little bit like here, ISO is now at 12,800, aperture is blinking, which means that the exposure is not correct. Moving back here, nothing is blinking, the exposure is correct, but the ISO is at 10,000. Back here. Alright, let's see how this looks like on the desktop.